A pleasant good afternoon to everyone. The time is just about 24 minutes before the hour of 6 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago. And today is the 13th day in the month of March. So we are marching on. I am Umar Muhammed, also known in the Calypso world as Calypsonian disciple. My dear people, let me give you an introduction why sometimes I have the urge to talk, the urge to say something. I was born and grown up. I was born in Port of Spain, yes. Well, you know the usual thing. Some people say they're born in East Dry River. It was just Port of Spain. But from the Port of Spain Colonial Hospital, at that time it was Port of Spain Colonial Hospital, my parents brought me up to our home in East Dry River. I was born in 1948. I went to school in Nelson Street Boys School, Teacher Stella School, which was Upper Low Place, not far from my home. On Laventille Road, yes. And Nelson Street Boys School, Piccadilly School, Fatima's Institute, whose head teacher was, I think he is dead by now, E.N. Spalding, on Chagrin Road, Port of Spain. I grew up in a domestic troubled home where my father did love the bottle. He used to work on the wharf. My mother was, in those days, you know, you talk about housewife, eh? Women just used to go out and work, used to be housewife. And I knew my mother as a janitor or caretaker or cleaning out the school, Nelson Street Boys School. I knew the deceased, if he is dead, Principal Mr. No, I could remember Mr. Alcantara, Mr. Graves, and other people, Mr. Daniel, and so on. Then I went to Richmond Street Boys Arts School, Piccadilly School, and you know, around the Port of Spain. My grandmother lived on Duncan Street, so I lived on Duncan Street, bless her soul. Nelson Street, Abercrombie Street, St. Vincent Street, St. Anne's, Enterprise Village, Five Rivers Aruca, Mova, between Coconut Drive and this place. After you go up the hill by the tank and you go down in Coconut Drive. I could remember Angelina Terrace. I used to be all there, right? Never dirty, yes, never dirty. I work in Mova School. I live Mova, right? Five Rivers Aruca, Enterprise Village, Diego Martin, Lansmeter, Carnage, St. Anne's, Abercrombie Street, St. Vincent Street, Henry Street, Bella Road, Belmont. I lived many places. And I grew up in a domestic troubled home. Father beaten mother, this, that. You know, the usual thing, long time. Sometimes when them wolfmen get drunk, they come home, trouble. But one thing I can say about myself, nobody can ever say that I'm a thief. You can't ever say that I'm dishonest with money. I'm a lazy worker. I'm a man when coming to a woman, I have weakness with this woman, that woman, da. I'm a hard worker. At one time I was a food vendor. And I used to be up in the clubs in town all over the night selling my food without getting attracted or connected to what was going on there. Monte Carlos, Waterloo, Lucky Jordan, Golden Club, Mirama Nightclub, Oriental, Paragon, and many of the nightclubs. And you know what goes on in a nightclub? I used to be down in Mirama when they did the striptease. I used to go to do my thing and that's it. I never used to leave my dimension or never used to leave my intention to go into other people's business or to get involved. Smoking, drinking, or nothing of the sort. I am me and I always remain me. So I got married. I have 4 children. I got divorced once. I'm married again. And I must say that my sexual life started at 25 and I have only had sex with 2 women. And these 2 women is 2 women whom I married. So I do not know other woman since I born in 1948, but 2 women. Must I say that I'm a saint? No. Curiosity had me doing things and trying to check out things because I lacked a certain kind of education. Curiosity. Not seductiveness, but curiosity had me doing things and checking out things because I lacked a certain education as a man, especially when I started my sexual life at the age of 25. But that curiosity never led me beyond the border. Because life is about exploring and doing research, right? And sometimes you explore and do your research and then you have to find yourself, as I said before, I was all in the club. Curiosity again. A man say, boy, if you go up in the club, you'll get that sell all the market players up there and drunkards and so on. So I went up there because through curiosity, I went up there to see if I can get what I supposed to get according to what I was putting out. Not pay me pies. And that is how I started. Everybody around town know me. I used to be into Sealots, Bitter Estate, all over the place. Nobody can say that I'm a thief, I'm a skullman or whatever it is. Yes, I do have my faults, I'm not perfect. So I will cast the first stone. But at the same time, I try to keep it in my area so that I cannot go beyond, so that I shouldn't be on the border. My people, due to that, due to what I have told you, this is the reason why sometimes I come on Facebook and talk. This is the reason why I'm going to talk about this topic now. This house that I'm inside here was all kind of things went on in this house, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I remain me. I remain me. In this area, East Jaiva is all kind of things. But I remain me. So, my people, as a calypsonian for the past 43 years and many of the other things I indulge myself in, let me say to you, and let me put on my glasses because, you know, it's getting late now and the glares are kind of down, so you know, it's not like summer. If I was outside, well, a difference. Yeah, now, let me tell you something. You see this system we live in? If you don't understand this system we live in, boy, you become like a puppet on a string where people could turn you and kiss you and dangle you all over the place. And some of them could even make you to believe that you're important, but you're not important. You're just an important fool. a very deceptive, deceitful, subliminal, conniving, diabolical system we live in. And woe be unto those who do not understand. The topic is about domestic abuse. When I see people marching up and down the street and hear about women's group and all this sort of group, oh yes, all well and good. I extend condolences to all the women who have been abused and whose body they find here and there and who's missing and they can't find them. All the groups coming forward to help, the religious groups, all well and good. But there are too much of deceptiveness in these things. The man himself, who sometimes organizing the group, could be the man himself who sometimes behind the closed doors organize the drugs, organize the ring of violence on women. We have too much of wolves in sheep clothing. My dear people, the system is responsible for what goes on today. But what happens? The system never really was prepared to limit or to control the situation of what goes on today. So therefore it went beyond. The system never really thought that things would have ended up so today. So my dear people, the system is not against crime. The system flourishes on crime. The system lives on crime. Crime pays the system. But you know what happened? Because it goes beyond the border, because it goes on in such a way so that those who should not be victim, they are victimized. Because it goes on in such a way that whether you're white, black, Indian, Chinese, African, or what, everybody is feeling the pinch. Everybody's feeling the hurt. Everybody's feeling the strain. But you have the wolves in sheep clothing on pulpits, on political platforms. Some of them are organizers of groups. And they all know where it started. So I'm going to tell you now where it started. It started with the system. So Francis Drake, so Walter Raleigh, so Ralph Abercrombie, many of these people, Christopher Columbus, they were fantastic, wicked people. Run people from their domain and send them way back in some forested area. Tell them they can't come in Port of Spain. Stop them from beating the drum. Declare the steel band a noisy instrument. Take over the natives of certain places, certain countries in this world, and declare that this is our turf. There is where the violence started from. The roam and the conquer by the gun and by force and by slavery and by the religious doctrine. They bless guns to go to war. World War I, World War II, and many of the different wars. They glorified the atomic bomb, they glorified the nuclear bomb, they glorified the violence of history so much so that it was taught in school as part of the curriculum. History. It was so glorified that we had the Tarzan and we had the Phantom being an indignation to the African people. So that when we see Tarzan running behind an African man, we're glad. When we see Phantom, we're glad. We're glad. Then when we see the cowboys running behind a red Indian, we're glad. We're on the cowboy side, we're on Phantom side. We're on Tarzan's side. Because we like Tarzan, Phantom. The cowboys, we're on them side. The Chinese were one of the people, up to now in the Bonanza thing, the Chinese in the cowboy days with their servants and so on. When we see a Chinese, we laugh. When we see an African, the troops, the African doing the black people is black man. So Tarzan had to come and take over, Phantom had to come and take over. But that's not the real topic. The real topic about where the violence started, that's just part of it. We glorified history, we glorified murder, we glorified turf war. That is why they have Fort Picton, Fort George. Waiting the fort is for. When the invaders come in, we have to keep them away. Sometimes they pelt in, bomb behind us. That's what the fort is for. And if you notice, a fort is always on a hill, because we had to stay from aloof, from on top, and see who is coming in the ocean. So it was a turf war. Same turf war goes on today. Same border war, borderline. Don't you know that all this borderline thing started? Excuse me, Asalma, doing a video now. Come back in the next hour now, right? Okay, right, okay. Excuse me for that. This borderline, I think, started. Don't you know it has some planes, you cannot enter certain area or certain zone that will get shut down? So people making you believe this borderline and this turf thing is only between some little black boys in certain areas or gangsters. Nah, that started long time. That's why they had Fort Picton, and you're running people off at the turf, running them back in the forest, and you're taking over the first people. Up to now, they can't even come in. They don't have a shrine or some place for their spiritual worship in town. Because when the demons come, when the criminals come, they run them away. They run them away. And they put their religion inside. So religion and violence and politics, they were all there together. They were all there as one. That is where the violence started. So when your child and my child used to go to school, I don't know if they still have that history in school, and hear Christopher Columbus and the wickedness that he did, so Ralph Abercrombie, Francis Drake and all of them, we like that. They were like heroes for us. The priest and the Catholic Church, they were part of it. They were Christians. So my people, that is where violence started. So much so that whenever the Christmas time comes, if your boy child does not have a gun, or as we say with caps, po, 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 it come like he had no toy, because the gun was there. We glorify that gun. We like to say our boy child with a gun shooting, but never did we realize that one day, from that generation to this generation, the real gun would have been the thing that a boy child really wants. As I've said before, we never prepared for change. We never prepared for revolution, because there was evolution. Things would have been naturally changing and taking one form into the next form. Our boy child did like the gun. We bought war tanks and so on. Then again, we had the cinemas. And there was rampant violence in the cinemas. If you go to watch a cinema show and it didn't have no gun shooting or no violence, it ain't good. It ain't good, boy. It ain't shit. That we should say. That it ain't good. And if it had anything but romance and so on, was for our little daughters and then to try to start to learn romancing, because the cinema was the only projection that we used to cinema or the film show. When we go to the cinema, that was the only thing we had. We didn't have no TV or anything, so no TV. That was the only thing we had in order as an entertainment. So that we can leave home 12:30, 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, whatever time, and midnight, and go and see cinema. And if there was a romantic show, that romantic show would come like a lesson for our young girls to learn how to make love and to grow up and to learn how to be with a man. Not the mother and father. There was no sexual education. The violence was like a lesson to a young boy to learn to be violent. You know, long time that at school, it wasn't gang warfare, but it was this school fighting against this school. And we should be bold, not heave, heave. When fight start, we want to see fight. Everybody surround the fighters. Heave, heave. I was going to Richmond Street School and had our next school upper Richmond Street, and when school over, everybody should know that when the last this school will fight this school against that school and so on and so on. The violence extended to the steel band because everybody was mimicking or copying or mocking what they see on the screen. And that is why some of the steel bands got their name. Desperados was a war side. Renegades, Highlanders, and so on and so on. Invaders. Look at them there now. War, you talk about war, no invaders. Starlift. All these are war pictures that you see. We forge a habit, a lifestyle from these war pictures. Some of us used to play gunman. We used to walk with the hand like if you are a gun. When a man tell you if you feel he's a gunman, you have gun mouth pants, all kind of thing. So let's ask the question, in light of all these violence, what part does the woman play? Because we are dealing now with domestic abuse, which man is part of it too, but the accent is on the woman, right? Religion is responsible for the woman and the men to be in this sort of state today. As how the men watch the woman. The scriptures are responsible. The scriptures are responsible because the scriptures identify the woman as a servant or as a goddess of some entity they call the devil. They say it's woman who disobeyed God, as they will say, and listened to the devil and did what the devil had to say. So from that time, woman was looked upon as the weaker sex. Hear what it says here. Let me show you. This is a serious thing, because it have a lot of people going about today, say they're marching and vigilanting, and they don't go down to these things, They don't go down to these things. And that is why as much as we march and keep on marching, it is still happening. Because they are not going down to the foundation of where it all started. Listen. Where did I put it down? Genesis chapter 3 verse 16. And this is the Lord speaking. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. Maybe that is wonder why that sometimes when a woman pregnant, men don't really care for them. And I see men in this area beating pregnant women already, It's nothing to laugh at, but I'm showing you. You know why? Probably this is the reason why. Unto the woman he said, I greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband. Now listen to this one. and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule, over thee. My people, this is the foundation of domestic abuse. The priest, the pastor, not African religion or African spirituality. Africa never really had religion, you know. Africa had spirituality. Africa is to do with spiritual science. The science of with water and light and so on. And light travels faster than sound, and the vibration and so on and so on. But we came into this system and we were taught different. So the man must rule over the woman. Here is where it all started. So no woman in coming to answer me, that is how the man in the say. I man in the house. You can't have two men not in one house. Both last, both slap. You want to answer. In some religion, the woman must not preach. In the Islamic religion, the woman is not allowed to preach or to read the holy books. When I say to read the holy books, or to read the holy books in a sense of preaching the scriptures of the Quran or the Khutbah. The man shall rule over thee. No wonder why Catholic nuns cannot be priests. And many other things. The woman was thought to be the weaker sex. Now I want to show you all something. While the woman was thought to be the weaker sex, that's why I talk about deceptiveness, deceitfulness, and such a damn nonsense. You know, the earth has the qualities of a woman. The earth can be impregnated with seed and bring forth fruits. Mother Earth, Mother Nature, the woman was here before man. Man came out of woman, woman then came out of man. And it goes on today. Somebody twisted the whole thing. Somebody wanted the man. And let me go so far to tell all you. You ever notice that the Christian religion say, who is God? God is here, there, and everywhere. Can you see God? No. They can't see God. God is here, there, and everywhere. But you know what happened? They're calling God He. He. Because they always want to show that the man is an authority in all aspects of life over the woman. The woman is the weaker sex. Even in Islam, Kul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. Say He, Allah is one. He is one on whom all depends. He begets not, nor is He begotten, and He is equal to none. He, Kul, say, Huwa, He. Kul huwa Allahu ahad, ahad one, say He, Allah is one. He. That is blaspheming. All the Muslims or all the Islam people, that is blaspheming. That is blaspheming. Because Allah is not a man. Allah is not a woman. When you say He, you're idolizing Allah because you're using a personal pronoun. You're personalizing Allah as He, because He belongs only to earth where there are men, where there are male. He. Allah is not a man. Mr. Christian, Mr. Muslims, everybody, as you all look at it, Allah is not a man, Allah is not a woman. Allah is an energy. Allah is an energy. And all energy came out of what you will call Allah, God, or whatever it is. All energy. The male as well as the female, everything. So then how can you bring down that energy, singularize that energy into just a he. No wonder why the woman feels left out. And there is where the domestic abuse started from. Verbally, physically, spiritually, religiously, politically. So men was educated to look down at women. Men were educated to look down at women. And should woman try to get a place, keep her behind, not side and side with me. They say, and he shall rule over thee, the man shall rule over the woman, not so with me. At one time when I didn't know it was so. But since I have educated myself without depending on the system to educate me, I want my woman side and side with me. She can tell me something and I will agree. I could tell her something and she will agree. She can tell me something and I will disagree. I can tell her something and she will disagree. But all in all, we all disagree to agree. Or maybe we agree to disagree. So the woman was to be looked down upon. In some cultures and certain parts of the world, I understand it was a curse for a man to have a woman child as his first child. So you see, there is where it started from. There is where it started from. Then the woman herself, or the parents herself, spoil the children. They spoil the children. This system does not or was not given the young child, especially the black African child. I say black because the Indians are black also. I always say people talking about the black people and the Indians and the child. No. You can't say black and mention Indian. You have to say black Africans, black Indians, because many of the Indians are black also. Stupidity, deceptiveness, deceitfulness. So the black Africans especially, who were torn away from their dimension, from their space in Africa and brought here, they had no other choice but to do according to what was told to them, because they were programmed to be like that. So we didn't know nothing about women. While our women were queens and rulers in Africa, we came down to a situation where our women, all of a sudden, weaker sex. Man stronger than woman. A few years ago, I've been hearing something nice. Woman is boss. Yeah. Mother Nature, Mother Earth. So which means say we depend on nature to survive, because on a mother to survive, Mother Nature. The whole family life was corrupted because of lack of sexual education. You ask your mother where did baby come from, long ago she tell you baby come from the aeroplane. We feel shame about sexual education. Some couples even feel shame to watch their nakedness when they go to have sex with one another. And we see, we never give the young children the kind of sexual education that they should have been given. So they go up in ignorance. Again, woman, the weaker sex. What they see their father do now, or what they see the system doing, they are only mimicking the system. They continue the atrocities of the system on woman. Only remember Boise Singh and Bolan, Thelma Haynes. My dear people, if you cannot educate your children about women, that is one of our faults. Biologically, we knew nothing about women. And when the children ask a question, they run them. And that has flowed over to this modern times of pornography. So we ask our parents, where did baby come from? No. You see two dogs having sex, as we would say, they stick on. and you're watching it, your parents running inside, go inside, go inside. I mean, there was some good things long time, Our parents used to dress good and decent and things, but sexual education was very bad. Very, very bad. So everything flowed over into this modern system, and what you have now is cell phone and all these things. So you cannot, the children learn about sex according to their likeness, what they see and what they hear again on the screen. Because remember, I said the cinema, and it continues on the screen, but this time a more up-to-date screen, a up-to-date technology, the cell phone, the laptop, and what have you. So again, all the seductiveness and all the sexual education from the man to the woman is about looking down at the woman, is about thinking that the woman should always have sex to give. She should always open her leg. When you're walking the road and you say, do how you do, and she don't look at you, you should cuss you, and the man could go outside and have many wives as possible. The woman can't have any. And if she should go outside and look too hard at the next man, or she should come home from work late, is the next man you have a what? Husband asks you for sex, she say no at all, is the next man you have a what? Right? The husband is not to be blamed. You can't blame me for anything. So the whole system is corrupt when it comes to sex, seduction, sexual education. The whole system is corrupt. So much so that people who get married today, they have no counselor. They don't want to go to no counselor because you can't. Anything you tell you, anytime you want to tell you anything, come and tell me. So you're going to complain to your parents, and the parents give you bad advice, and you go back to your husband, or the husband complain to your father, or whatever, and it all ends up in murder. Because where there is lack of education, where there is lack of knowledge, the people will perish. Simple as that. Now they want to get sex education in school. It is too late now. Because while many are called, few are chosen to really understand what it is, because many have already been called to the negative part of it, through their cell phones and what have you. It's a serious, serious thing we didn't read. Because you know that when your girl child goes to school, or your girl child is growing up in an area, that the cocks are watching it and crowing, "Cook-a-coo!" You're waiting for that fowl, and all of a sudden the hen started their egg, and you want to know how it happened. Sometimes it's a catastrophe, because the young girls making their children, and they bring it home for the parents or the grandparents to mind, because the boy not working anywhere. As the cocky started to crow, yes, and that was it. He ain't crowing no more, because he by the street lining, he can't get work, or he did something wrong and he has a bad reputation, so he can't get work. So you eventually have to mind the child. Sometimes the girl gets so vexed, she realizes what is went on, she decides to take a different course, and where you going, blah, 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 licks, pick, murder, all this kind of thing. So therefore, the woman was looked upon in this modern time as a bitch, as some of them will say. And the woman herself accepted it. She accepted that kind of thing, because she feel that if she don't go in her party and wind down and cock up to bum and go back, they wouldn't like her. She wants to be accepted, not rejected. And that's where the whole thing is. A man has sex for about a whole year, and boy, I feeling for sex, I feeling to drop, let go some of my water. He go down the road at random, he pick somebody, has sex with them, and dump them, kill them, or whatever it is. If they get away, they're lucky. If you send them back, they're lucky. So, woman was also a sex choice for people who have been deprived for some reason or the other of sex for maybe a year, 2 years. Because you don't have no education, you don't have no culture. So that is your satisfaction. But she again down the road, or you go and you hustle somewhere, your old girlfriend. That's the whole thing. But the priests and the historians and the politicians wouldn't tell you where all this violence started. It has reached a point now where it is overflowing. the music, the fashion. You know, I was walking down this morning, I was walking down Frederick Street and I saw a woman walking down Frederick Street in front of me. She had on, well shaped, you know, nice boomsy. She had on her pants. And boy, she was looking good from behind. But I was good looking at she. You know, I was good looking at she because I was looking at she with good thoughts in my mind, not bad thoughts. I wasn't bad looking. That's why I said she was good looking from behind. For me, there are two sorts of good looking, you know. So it has sometimes a man tell you, you're looking good, but you have bad thoughts. But I was good looking at her with good thoughts. But for some reason or the other, the woman looked wrong, because I won't say what kind of work she was doing, but she looked wrong. And when I saw that woman's face, that woman was no younger than 50 to 55 years old. And I said, boy, I wonder, boy, what kind of example is she setting for her grandchildren, men as boys as well as girls? So if that is happening, the woman wants to be accepted because she wants to be sexually attractive. And she is not studying what she is, the mentality that she is putting on to her grandchildren, because they don't have no culture, no sex education, no guidance. Well, then must we say that the women themselves too are encouraging it, and the encourager is worse than the doer? That the woman herself must understand that when you have a little boy child or a little girl child coming up and see you sit down anyhow, or just sing anyhow in front of them, what kind of mentality is it putting in that boy child or girl child? So when that boy child grows up to be a sexual demon, to be a sexual misfit, how do you expect him to look at a woman? His mother used to be like that. I used to see she hugging up in man. I used to see all kinds of things going on in the bedroom. They never say hi for me. How do you expect him to look at a woman? Especially if he sees his father raping his mother, or when his mother gone out, he bringing a woman in the house and having sex. So how do you expect him to look at a woman? And he shall rule over her, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over her. The priests know that. Yes, all of them know about this. All of them know about this because in the Bible. But none of them on any vigil, candlelight vigil, going to read that for you. Because that is where the young boys saw their father manipulating their mother or their wives in such a way so that they grew up to be part of it. The fruit does not fall far from the tree. So right now it is too late for the church, the politicians, the education system to say they want to stop it. Men are being abused too, because I knew of men who have been abused. But again, because of the system is down on the woman and make the man feel that he shall rule over. I'm going back to it. And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So the man knowing that he shall rule over thee, it's shameful to go to the station and say, my wife beat me. That's why the police say, but a big man like you, you let a wife with you. Is a wife with you know that? What happened? Men could tell you in the past that they have gone to the station, and probably could happen now. Domestic abuse, verbally, physically, they're afraid to go to the station. But because it was said that man shall rule over thee, when man's ruling get out of control, murder, beat the children, murder them from the children, domestic abuse. So from this little thing here in the scriptures, Genesis chapter 3 verse 16, that is it. All the candlelight vigil, all the beyond the tape, all the Ministry of National Education, all of them studying what to do, hang a man, don't hang a man, waste of time. Waste of time. Something has to happen in this world, and a new system has to come again. Or you better see if you could turn this system inside out. But you know what Bob Marley said when you're trying to do that? The system, the self will go against it. Many more will have to suffer, many more will have to die. Don't ask me why. Because if everybody tried to do good, and for about a whole year, you still have a murder, you still have a thief, and so many people, seeing how crime is very profiting, they have gone study to be lawyers and judges and so on and so on. And so many people join the police service. What we'll do? We'll have a redundant police service, a redundant judiciary system. This is not what they want, because crime has to pay. It's just that it is out of control. So my people, Umar, Muhammed, calypsonian disciple, I showed you all where I was in it. I was everywhere. Enterprise Village, Aruka, Peter Estate. I had family living in Sealats. I lived Nelson Street, I worked George Street, I lived Duncan Street, I lived Henry Street, Abercrombie Street, and Vincent Street, Belmont, Never Dirty, Bella Road, Belmont. All these places had a little reputation. St. Anne's, Caranas, Nasmita, Smith Hill, Point Kumana. I ain't never chop a man. I never thief a man money. I never run down behind a man woman. I have passed through all these fires without allowing the fire to burn me in such a way so that I have to burn with it. I don't smoke, I don't drink. Yes, I have my faults. Yes, my family could tell you. But none of them, and no other person say, the father is a thief. Father is a murderer. The father like to run down woman. The father is a lazy man. I work hard. Everything I got it by working hard. The hard way. I work in places and nobody can say that I'm a racist. But please don't call me Negro. Don't call me black. Call me African. I hear some people using statements like this. And you know there was the blacks and there was the Chinese and the Indians. They call everybody by their original name from the land from which the race came from. But when they come to use blacks, is there such thing as a black land? Then you might just say, India is a black land, China, because Krishna once in a calypso, once you are not white, you are considered black. And that is true. So why call me black? Why call me Negro? Negro means black. Nigger, Creole, monkey, cockroach, all kind of. And this is one of the reasons too why the black man is being identified in these areas here, in this Trinidad and Tobago and the West Indies, as the man who really does not give his woman the kind of respect she should, because he was not educated. He has no racial education, no racial culture. All they tell you still and culture is a culture. But that is limited. I want to hear that you have a culture in such a way so that you know who to pray to, when to pray, how to go to work, how to do this, how to get along economically, how to help out your own people, to push up your own people around than to push them down. So that the love starts with you and it could be extended to other races of people. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. As Whitney Houston said in a song. You must be able to love, man, know thyself. as a human being, and not just as a human being, but as a human being that belongs to the Chinese race, the Indians, or the Africans, or whatever. Love yourself first. But nobody wants us to love ourselves. Everybody wants us to be like a statue of slavery. Yes, sir, and stand up straight and answer to cockroach, Creole, monkey, Negro, nigger, black man. This is one of the things too. If we should try to tap on the African man and knowing what he went through, we will be also, you see, I'll tell you something what happened. You know what I realized? There are certain topics that they should really get into, but they don't want to get into it. You know why? Because there are certain people in society want to remain up there, and the wise must live off the fools. My people, Trinidad and Tobago, calypsonian disciple, Umar, Muhammed, and other names which I have known by, this thing with a call woman abuse, it ain't go finish now. Because when a woman bare her bottom and want to whine on anything for Carnival Day, whose abuse is that? It is woman abuse, but it's a woman abusing her own authority. It is a woman abusing her own morality as a woman. So when we talk about woman abuse, remember everything starts on the inside out. Once the woman stops abusing herself, ridiculing herself, humiliating herself for sexual favors and what have you, for sexual, what you call, sexual observation, you know, it has someone that just like a man to look at them, oh boy, they look at that thing, looking, they like that. Sexual fantasies and infatuation and all them things. And then when the men stop looking at the woman in that way and know that the woman is a very important entity in life, you come through that vagina is one of the most important places in life. It is the gateway to this world. Educate yourself sexually. Know about the woman's vagina, the clitoris and so on. Know about it. Because there are people in this world, they're so sexy that they don't know nothing about their private parts. They don't know nothing about their body, spiritually, physically, otherwise. Umar, Muhammed, calypsonian disciple, thank you very much for listening to me. And you know, before I go, one time a person said to me just about it ago, but Umar, we're talking and you're scarcely getting views. The singing calypsonian is scarcely getting views. I am not about getting views. I'm about passing on the message. Because if 1 million views ain't mean nothing to you, if that 1 million do not understand or know how to act in relationship to the message. But one person, one view could mean many, because once that one person knows, understands or understands, and go and teach, go ye and teach all nations. Have a good day. Thank you very much for listening to me.